Have you ever gotten into something and didn't know what the point of no return was until it was too late?
Moving forward with the DekkerTeam. Moving forward together with the DekkerTeam.
We're excited to be with you. I'm Yetta Decker.
I'm Ken Decker.
And welcome you back to another episode of The Inside Track, where we share techniques, thoughts, and tools that we all need, we all deserve, you, I, everyone, to turn our house into a home where our families thrive and we live the best life possible.
Now, in real estate, it's pretty simple. The point of no return is at the fulfillment time. Or if you have no conditions, the point of no return is when you put in the offer, right? If they accept it, there's no turning back.
No turning back.
If it's conditional on lawyer approval, finance, insurance,
Building
status
inspection.
certificate, building inspection, septic inspection, well inspection, there's a point where you can turn back and go, no, I don't want to go ahead with this.
Right.
And interesting enough, sometimes it's, we call it buyer remorse or cold feet.
And I would say anytime I buy a large purchase, anytime I buy a big thing, there's a good probability I'm going to have some sense of buyer's remorse. That's been my personal experience because it's a big deal to buy a property. It's a big deal to buy a car. And after I've done it, I'm thinking, did I make the right decision? Ought I have done that? Or was this one of those times it was a bad decision? Timeshare is one of those. That's a topic for another show. And yet we have a tendency.
Well, we had a cooling off period on that one.
We did.
We pulled out a one.
We did pull out a one. So we have a tendency to move into a big decision and then kind of wonder if it was a good decision or a bad decision. That's kind of normal. For us, we have a tendency to experience cold feet and that sense of buyer's remorse. Like, have you ever bought something and thought, oh, and yet it was still an amazingly good decision?
I get that all the time when I'm going to come home and tell you I bought it.
Yeah. So it can still be a great decision. So this is a show about thinking about those times when you ought to pull out and how do you know when to pull out? And it's so much more than just a little bit of typical buyer's remorse because that's kind of a normal deal for us humans.
Yeah. You know what was interesting when I was, this is total segue, like not a segue, what do they call it? Tangent.
This is a bunny trail or a piggy trail?
We're going on a piggy trail. When I was about to walk Candace down the aisle to be married.
I know. Not everybody likes when you share this story.
I know, but I told her. I said to her, I didn't use the word you're at the point of no return. And I said, before you walk down that aisle, it's just her and I sitting in the back hallway waiting. I said, you can change your mind right now. And I don't care about the tens of thousands of dollars or whatever we've spent or the embarrassment, whatever it is. You can turn around right now and we'll leave the building and it's over. Or you can walk up there, make that decision to say those vows. But once you make that decision, I said, it's for life. You're in this. And she walked up that aisle shaking. I don't think it was because of that. Maybe it was.
I think it was.
Maybe
I think
it was.
you scared her.
Yes. So in a real estate transaction, that time is the conditional period.
Right.
Once you fulfill those conditions, there's no backing out without possibility of large recourse.
Right. Lawsuit.
Yeah.
That's kind of large.
Loss of deposit.
Loss of deposit. Loss of money beyond the deposit. A lot of people say, it's just my deposit. No, not really. It's significantly more than that if you pull out once your conditions have been fulfilled or if you have no conditions, which does happen more and more in this market. Like we're living in a market now, Ken, where we have a significant number of properties being purchased with zero conditions.
Yes, the other day I had 14 offers on a property we had for sale.
Yeah.
We got 236,600 over asking price, which was my second highest ever. And
Over asking.
Out of the 14 offers, I'm trying to remember now, I think there were 6 or 7 that were no conditions.
50%.
Yeah, no conditions at all.
Yep. And that's pretty common in this market in the right neighborhoods. So doing your due diligence in advance of putting the offer in a property where you're pretty sure more than one person's going to want it. And that market has now existed for quite some time in the Ottawa area in the right neighborhoods. And it's even fascinating to me that often there may be a property you think it's been around for a while, not going to be in competition, no big deal. I don't have to do my due diligence before I put the offer in. I can do my due diligence after. And then all of a sudden, your offer initiates or sparks interest from the others that have been thinking the same thing you have.
It's FOMO.
Fear of missing out.
Yes, that's what causes it, because then the realtor calls the other people that have been looking at it and says, hey, there's an offer on this property. And suddenly FOMO kicks in, fear of missing out, and a second offer shows up, or a third.
Or a third or a fourth.
Yeah,
even on
crazy.
something that's been sitting around.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be something that is brand new on the market. It happens across the board now in the right area at the right price point.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that people, and I don't know, it's a bit of a natural thing, and it's same with me. I find I don't want to disappoint the person I'm working with. And so I've had many clients say to me, oh, I'm so sorry you've had to look at so many houses with me, or they put offers in on properties and we bought them and then they walk away for inspection purposes, or status certificate's not good, and they are concerned about me. And I'm going, no, you are the client in this. We want to make sure you get the perfect house. Never be concerned about like you're wasting my time, because it's not. That's what I'm doing.
Right.
That's what I'm here for.
Right. And we're doing our utmost so that you're at the inspection and at the different phases, you're not having to backtrack, because that is timely.
Yeah, like
costs.
even it costs some money to do inspections. So one of my goals is when I'm showing a property that I'm looking for deficiencies. I'm not a home inspector, and we're maybe looking at the house for 10, 15 minutes instead of a home inspector looking at it for 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
Big difference. But I want to see, if there's a structural issue, I might pick up on it. And not all of them, but I might pick up on it. And so I'm going to say to the client, here, there's an issue here. The foundation's bowing or whatever. The roof's sagging. Is this a concern to you? Are you willing to take this on?
Right. Are we willing to go to the next step and negotiate an agreement?
Right.
So if you're in multiples, because I didn't actually share that insight. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're thinking this is going to be multiples, I want to prepare myself, doing a pre-inspection can go a long way. They're not necessarily 2 or 3 hours. They might be an hour. They're done a little differently because they're more for protecting you. So they cost a little bit less, or they can, not necessarily the way it's done. It's really an individual basis depending on your needs. And yet we want to make sure that you do it before you get to the point of no return.
Right. So I always say better to spend a little and save a lot. Does that make sense?
It does. So we're so grateful that we're growing well through real estate with you. Thank you.
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward together with the Decker team.